Hey everyone, it's Amanda, the Redheaded Mystic. Welcome to the Dead Garden. I have been thinking a lot about the energies lately, and for me personally, there has been a feeling of balancing, which would make sense. I think we're in Libra now, but for me, there's been a balancing of like homework and then also light and shadow, and then as well as masculine and feminine energies within the self. So it's quite a bit, and I feel like not only are they balancing, but things are not necessarily moving around, but settling in its place and clearing out the debris, and then maybe even finalizing and rooting itself in place. To be more stable and concrete and with longevity, if that made any sense. So I want to see what's going on with the energy right now when it comes to that. If we can see, okay, music and harmony. Yeah, so a balancing to make harmonious energies work together in balance. What else can I get for the energies that are going on? I hope everyone's doing really well. If not, this too shall pass. Just keep treating yourself with love and doing the best that you can. That's all we can do, right? Okay, can I get some more of this energy that's been going around? This balancing act. Come on. Ceremony, invocation. Yeah. I heard like sanctity. Yeah, like the temple within yourself. The things that you find sacred within yourself, the things that you believe moral-wise. What else can we get? And even pulling in energies to help you balance what's going on within yourself and around you. Part of your healing, right? I'm hearing take them, Milky Way perspective. Yeah, gaining new perspective. As we grow and experience things, sometimes our morals and values will change, our perspectives will change, our minds will expand and open to see things through a different lens, or understand that things are not black and white. There are very much gray areas. And until you find yourself on the flip side of that, you know, you're not going to know. Mountain and strength. Yeah, and then having a strength in this, right? Finding the strength in yourself. I heard to be who you need for yourself. If you're a person who has to rely on themselves, if you don't have a lot of help or people around you, or even if you do, maybe because you're going through this different perspective, this expansion, this balancing inside, this healing inside, showing yourself that love, then the people around you are going to not necessarily resonate with you anymore. And as you change and grow, so will your environment around you. And you're only as good as your environment, so you have to be the change that you want to see. And then if something isn't right, you have to make steps in order to change that, whatever it be. So that you can be happy with yourself and your surroundings and, I mean, your reality in retrospect, I guess. Because obviously the world that we live in is not great, so, I mean, you can do things to change the reality that you live in to see the things that you want to see, right? Yeah, I really like this. Okay, this is different. This is good. I don't really want to do these ones. Hold on a second. I think I'm going to grab another deck. Okay, I'm back. Okay. So, let's do... okay, let's ask about the music and the harmony and that sort of energy. Okay, so music and harmony, we got abundance with the rivers of Babylon. I'm hearing people. I heard getting back out there. So this could be like new collaborations. This could be like working with people or starting something. Like, let's say you work on your own, or you work with like only 1 or 2 people, and then all of a sudden you start working with like 5 or 10 people, something like that. So the harmony within the people in your life, the harmony within the people around you. And you could be a musician too, also like you could be joining a band. And how to function within that group. Could be different kinds of groups that you're joining. And then that's going to bring you abundance. Abundance in like the air of life. Like meeting new people and doing new things and having new adventures. Like that breathes like vitality into your lungs. That's what it's all about, right? Doing new things, meeting new people, having new adventures, expanding your mind, seeing things out there firsthand, as opposed to, you know, all the garbage that we're told on social media and news and whatnot. Yeah. Okay, so what can we get for ceremony and invocation then? That's interesting. Yeah, this vitality, right? Searching for vitality, searching for something that I just keep getting this expansion in the lungs. You know, like living your best life, being free, being open, being heart-centered, having a zest for life, having a zest for your life. Okay, so we got vast vistas, and like how the air and the sky feels so like wide and beautiful and free, and just that deep breath and that expansion in the lungs, like that's what it feels like. And there's even, what is that? Like an elk or something? Maybe you're on a new spiritual path. Maybe you're a masculine. And that's interesting because like the elk is in the sky, but then he also has like an eagle or a hawk like sitting beside him. So I feel like this is a lot about mind expansion and seeing things from a bird's eye view, seeing things from maybe a higher purpose perspective, a higher power perspective, seeing things from God's eyes, right? With this invocation and ceremony. So like the way that your loved ones on the other side would see things, the way that, you know, spirit would see them, anything that's, you know, like a higher power, like a deity or whatever it is that you believe, right? And using that energy and that knowledge to heal and better yourself and spiritual intelligence, right? Because once you understand how things work, and that it has everything to do with you, but also nothing to do with you when it comes to other people, things just, you know, roll off your back a little bit easier, or it's more understanding and therefore like less emotional, and you just get through things better. Truth. Yeah, finding the truth in yourself, finding the truth of who you are, finding the truth about the people around you. Truth is powerful. Knowledge is powerful. It says the Cherokee talking stick tradition. So yeah, whoever has the talking stick is the one who gets to talk in the group, right? That we use our ability to listen more. Listen to our bodies, listen to our hearts, listen to our souls and what they're saying and what it's saying. Instead of, you know, running through life, you know, like a chicken with its head cut off, or like a bloody robot where there's no feeling, it's just action, you're just doing what you're doing. Yeah, and again, with the vitality, the sun, you'll start to feel the sun more on your face, taking time for that we actually have a beautiful sun, you know? I like my darkness as, you know, the next person, but I also am grateful for the sun every day, because things grow in the sun, right? Unless you be a mushroom, then you grow in the dark and the damp, which are also cool. Right? A balancing, right? So light and dark, right? That not necessarily what is true for one person is necessarily true for another person. You know, you could go through life and you can explain to people like, well, how did you do that? And it's like, well, I did this and this and this. And then that person tries those things and it doesn't fucking work for them, right? We are all different. We are on different journeys and different paths, and what works for you might not work for someone else, especially if you're, you know, like a highly favored person in the spiritual world. What works for you is not going to work for the mass of the mundane, right? What can I get from Milky Way and perspective? Yeah, trust. Trust in the knowledge that you're getting with your heart, your soul, higher powers, your body. Trust in the change that you're seeing in your life. Trust in, if you're going through a hardship or emotional issues, mental issues, like whatever it is that you might be having a hard time with, trust that it gets better, trust that the wheel turns, trust that it passes. And that there's always a reason for everything, and there's always like a bigger purpose to like what's going on. And that purpose just could be as simple as you learning a lesson, right? Something simple so that you understand. What can I get for the mountain and the strength also? Leadership, ancient Egypt. And there's mountains in here, and there's pyramids in here, and there's peaks. And with this ocean. So yeah, I feel like someone, or many of you, could be going through like a spiritual journey. The healing of the self, the changing of your mind and perspective and the world around you. And how emotional that is, but how, like the sun peeking out of the clouds, how glorious that can be when the light in your mind wakes up and you see things in a different way. And all the fog and the dark kind of sinister energy that you might have been under, when that actually clears away from your brain and you see things with a clearer mind, and even some cases a sober mind, it's so jarring to see that, like, almost like you were under some sort of spell, almost like you woke up and you were like in a different planet or a different like Earth, and you're like, what is happening, right? It's the craziest feeling, but also very much proof that people, places, and things can really change us and control us. And it's not just what's going on at face value. There's very much a lot going on in the spiritual realm, the things where you don't pay attention to, like your heart, soul, and your body. And when you don't pay attention to those things, that's where you can find yourself ending up in situations where people have power and control of you in a way that you didn't know it kind of existed. So yeah, finding the strength in yourself, leading your own life, taking matters into your own hands. You know, God only helps those who help themselves. And that's not about taking advantage or using in a negative way. That's about taking action for your life and what you want, following your own heart, and utilizing the resources that you have around you, because that's what they're there for. Okay, so we're going to move into the tarot. I'm using the Antique Anatomy Tarot. I just feel like this deck is really healing, and it gets to kind of the bare bones of things. Ha ha ha. Such a... All right, so what can we find about this abundance? What can you tell me about the abundance that people are going through, that energies are going through? That's, wow, way too many things. Wow, okay then, we'll take that one. All right, the Magician. I just heard let your backbone slide. It's funny. With the spine, the music, harmony. Yeah, let things flow around you, within you. Let the music take you, right? Music is really powerful, like very powerful. There's so much in music when it comes to the instruments that are used, when it comes to the notes that are used, the vocals, the words. Music and I believe smells. I think smell is the most strongest, but when it comes to like those two things, they're the things that can trigger, and not in a bad way, just, I mean, in a bad way, but they're the ones that will kind of bring forth like recall of like memories and events. That's like the strongest way to do that, right? Yeah, and with the red flowers, really rooting yourself. And so with your backbone slide and then it being in like an S, and it makes me think of like a snake, and with like Babylon being like the 3D kind of materialistic world, learning to maneuver that world as well as the spiritual world, and like I said, allowing your backbone to slide, letting the, like, what is it, water off a duck's back, learning to shed your skin as you grow, right? Because there will be many versions of yourself that you go through. And taking the time to please yourself with the hand in the middle, right? Alchemizing the Magician, alchemizing your own body and your own energies so that it works for you, so that you're in harmony. Okay, I like that. That was good. Okay, ceremony, invocation, this truth, this vitality, this open, free kind of energy. What do we have? Was it the Six? The Six of Elixirs, which is the Six of Cups. Yeah, that pink and blue energy, that self-love and communication. A lot of blue in here. So yeah, the truth of who you are, the truth of what you believe, being truthful with yourself, loving yourself, what your heart wants, what your heart desires. Yeah. And with like the labs, right? And how 3 bottles are facing one way, 3 bottles are facing the other way. So with the right and the left brain and the balancing of the masculine and feminine energies, again with the blue and the pink, like a trial and error, right? You're lab testing, you're finding out what works for you and what doesn't. What makes you breathe, what makes you feel expanded, what makes you feel free, right?
This is really good. I like this so far. Okay. Milky Way and trust perspective. What can I get for that?
Ace of Coins. Yeah, perspective. And then with the purple flowers, right? That's crown. That's third eye. Really taking stock in that, because there's great value in that. Because once you reach that point, your third eye being open, your crown being open, all of that stuff being cleared from you, I mean, I don't want to say it's priceless, but like, you can't beat I mean, yeah, that's priceless. I mean, you can't beat like a free thinker, right? Someone who thinks for themselves, someone who goes against the grain, someone who takes chances and takes risks, someone who isn't afraid to believe what they believe, love what they want to love, and not let anybody else tell them who they are, right? And how things work in the world. Yeah. And with the yellow, that's courage, right? To stand up. For yourself and for others. What can I get for, and that goes into your leadership and your strength, right? What can I get for the mountain, the leadership in this ancient Egypt? I want another card with this though. So I got death. Yeah, death to an old way of thinking, right? Moving out of this perspective, moving into the strength and the leadership of yourself, of your own life, of what you want, right? I mean, burn some bridges if you want, right? 13. Yeah, 13 is that number that, you know, it's endings, but it's also like the rebel number, right? You're stepping into like a rebel mode, like a real rebel mode, right? Going against the grain, going against what like maybe society or the people around you or your family or your friends or whatever it is tells you is, you know, this is the way, this is what you're supposed to think, this is how it's supposed to be done. And you're saying like, don't think so, right? And the passion in that with the red. I just heard, and there's beauty in the black. You know? It's like all the people that are goths and stuff like that and wear nothing but black. I mean, that's their journey, their soul, their sight, whatever it is that makes them live to their fullest. We all need different types of people, right? I find those people extremely fascinating. What can I also get, please, for the mountain and the leadership? Can I get one more to go with this? I don't. The masses of what? Okay, the Queen of Rods. This is the Queen of Wands. Yeah. Yeah. So turning yourself into the Queen of Wands type of energy. You don't have to be a feminine. You can be a masculine. It doesn't really matter. It's just about the energy. Put yourself like where you belong. We all go through journeys like this. That's so weird. Okay, so like this, for some reason, is reminding me of a bedpost. And I'm hearing laying things to rest with the Death card, right? So whatever you got going on in your life, whatever you've been through, whatever is about to come to an end, is being laid to rest. And you are following that intuition. You are stepping into the power mode of your spiritualness. You're adapting and taking that on as like a new integration. Again, full of passion, full of heart. And the Queen of Wands is a very powerful feminine energy when she is, you know, in the upright, in the healthy. I just heard she makes moves you've never seen before. That's... Isn't that from a movie? Is that Pretty Woman? Was that Julia Roberts said, I've got moves you've never seen before? So, don't even know. Okay, anyways. Yeah. What else? What else can we do? What are we at? No? Yeah? Just quick to close it off? I mean, that's pretty good. Okay, what can I get for the Magician to close off? Albatross. So it's a good omen, right? Yeah, good omen, calm, stamina, so you feel good about this, right? Leaving all the shame and regret, alchemizing that, feeling free with the bird, right? That's good confirmation. And what can I get for the Six of Elixirs? This vitality, the ceremony. Third person. Another person involved. Strangers, outside parties, third wheels, too many people. Yeah, so about you stepping away and through this growth, stepping into your truth and learning to be a free thinker, learning to not go with the crowd, learning to love yourself, putting yourself first, right? Getting rid of the peoples and places and things, right? Going for that balance, oh my God, balance of feminine and masculine energies that you don't need someone else's validation, right? Excellent. That's some good healing. What can I get for this? What is that? The Ace of Coins with this perspective. That's way too many. What can I get for that, please? These cards have been all over the place lately. Okay, Grasshopper, lighthouse. So yeah, taking that leap of faith, right? Sudden change, not to worry and trusting in what's coming for you. A lighthouse, yeah, safe passage. You know, the uniform, when you, like when I said, you know, God helps those who help themselves, and when you have a spiritual plan, you start following your heart, all of the universe conspires to help you, right? So yeah, your guidance system, following your heart and your soul, and listening to your body, having safe passage in that, and navigating the obstacles, using tact and diplomacy, yeah, being practical about it, right? That you might not have all the answers now, but if you take, you know, baby steps moving forward, taking that action every day a little bit, you know, you can't go wrong. Success is the obedience to your own heart, not what the 3D materialistical world is going to tell you what success is. It's not about how many cars, not kind of what car, like how big is your house, how many friends do you have, how many this, that, and blah, blah. It doesn't matter, right? At the end of the day, the deathbed kind of thing. Nobody cares. Mountain leadership. I mean, there you go. Cross. Spirituality. Right? Your destiny. Your divine guidance. Learning from all the trials and the emotional loss and the sorrow, but it was all a necessity. Right? Rooting yourself in your convictions. That you have a duty to yourself and to the universe and to God, whatever you believe, to follow your own heart, to share your talents and skills with the world, and to speak your truth, not only for yourself, but for others as well, right? Amazing read. I hope you guys liked it. I sure did. Give it a thumbs up. Any comments, subscribe, you know the drill. And have a great day. Peace.